Hello, dear friends. The most dangerous human being for the Matrix is the one who is able to think things through for himself, without taking into account the prevailing superstitions and taboos. Opinion piece. Russian surprise. Show of force. Secret weapons. Strong message. Change of course. Hypersonic missile. Concepts in NATO. Difficult to intercept. Advanced capabilities. End of the war in 2025. Geopolitical implications. Difficult geopolitical times. Zelensky wants peace now. Trump will have an uphill battle. Outwitting any anti-missile shield. Is the risk of war escalation receding? Russia wants the US half an hour in advance. Let's start. Holy Mother Russia has more layers than an onion, like the Matryoshka dolls, nested one inside the other, because she keeps aces up her sleeve and hides advanced technology. It is not as rich as a rich country as China, but it has a lot of technology and a lot of raw materials. It was enough for them to show a state-of-the-art hypersonic ballistic missile that bypasses all shields to stop a supposed escalation of war. Russia is preparing hypersonic missiles after declaring that NATO countries have joined the conflict, according to Geopolitical. I suspected that Russia was going to make a show of force after the use of long-range missiles by Ukraine, but I didn't know how. Now we know. Donald Trump Jr. published on November 18th that the military-industrial complex wants to unleash a world conflict before the new President Trump takes office. Famous political artist Jimmy Dore said that what they are trying to do is start a war that Donald Trump cannot stop. The only hope we have is that Putin shows restraint, that he is the only adult in the room, and that he can somehow hold out until Trump becomes president. The positive part of this calculated display of force is that it removes the risk of global escalation given the inequality of both powers in missile capabilities, although this is only a personal opinion. It is no longer about winning an impossible war, because we all lose in any armed conflict, but about stopping the bloodshed and achieving world peace. This context suggests that both sides are trying to establish a new reality on the battlefield, where missile capabilities play a crucial role in the escalation of the conflict and in future negotiations to achieve peace. Launch. Russia gave the US a half-an-hour warning before launching its missile at Ukraine. On Thursday, Russia launched a new hypersonic ballistic missile called Oresnik against an industrial complex in Dnipro, Ukraine. This attack has generated worldwide surprise due to the advanced capabilities of the missile. The Oresnik reaches a speed of Mach 10, equivalent to 2.5 or 3 kilometers per second, and is capable of bypassing any Western anti-missile shield, according to Putin. Although classified as a medium-range missile, it has characteristics of an intercontinental missile. Russia launched its ballistic missile because the West is willing to do anything to defeat it, according to the Kremlin. During a televised statement by President Putin on November 21st, he noted that Russia considers itself entitled to use weapons against military facilities of countries that allow their weapons to be used against Russia, in quotes. The announcement was issued immediately after the launch of the new state-of-the-art ballistic missile. This new type of missile is capable of reaching any place within Europe. The Oresnik intermediate-range hypersonic ballistic missile launched by Russia on Thursday has surprised the Western press, which describes it as uniquely terrifying, and has interpreted it as a strong message from Moscow to the West that it has greater capabilities than previously shown, suggests CNN. In the same sense, the Financial Times describes the attack as an attempt to demonstrate the ability to surpass the West in the scale of retaliation, in its attempt to deter Western support for Ukraine. In quotes. Defenselessness. The missile's ability to launch multiple warheads sets it apart from the other missiles that had been used against Ukraine, and it is very difficult to intercept. A Ukrainian military analyst claimed that Ukraine's air defense systems are completely incapable of intercepting the missile, and that it cannot be detected as it travels through the upper atmosphere. US officials note that the missile is still experimental, that Russia only has a few in its possession, and that they would be unlikely to be used regularly against Ukraine. The Oresnik is a Russian intermediate-range ballistic missile with hypersonic capability. It has an estimated range of 1,000 to 5,500 kilometers and a maximum speed of Mach 10. It can carry conventional or nuclear warheads. It is equipped with a multiple individually attached warhead system, such as a multiple independent reentry vehicle, and features 6 warheads, in which in turn have 6 submunitions each. It was announced by President Putin during his speech on November 21, 2024, and the missile was used to attack the Yuzhmash plant that produces missile technology since the Soviet era, located in the city of Dnipro in Ukraine. This attack was the first carried out by such a weapon in history, and was presented as a test of the weapon in real combat conditions. On Friday, November 22, 2024, Putin announced the serial production of said weapon. Change of course. Matthew Saville, Director of Military Sciences at the Royal United Services Institute, explains in statements to AP and BBC that the Oresnik has a range far superior to anything in this conflict so far, and possibly it is the first used in combat. Quotes. It involves the launch of multiple independent warheads at an extremely high speed, such that even the Patriot anti-aircraft system will have difficulty intercepting them, he explained. The attack is seen as a show of force by Russia towards the West. Putin has ordered the Oresnik into mass production and announced that tests will continue, including in combat conditions. NATO will meet in Brussels on Tuesday to discuss this launch, considered an escalation in the conflict. The use of this advanced missile could have significant implications for the course of the war and future negotiations. Zelensky is already talking about negotiating peace in 2025, suggesting a possible change in the dynamics of the conflict. Zelensky believes there is a strong chance of an end to the war in 2025. Maximum alert. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian military is launching attacks missile against Russia's Kursk region, but Russia has not yet responded. The US has put its strategic submarine on high alert. For its part, France has ordered Ukraine to launch French Scalp cruise missile to attack the Russian interior. Moscow declares this a declaration of war. It has also declared that the UK is at war with Russia. The Russian ambassador in London said, Britain has taken a direct part in the war between Russia and Ukraine. The US Air Force has confirmed that several unidentified drones have been spotted over 3 air bases in Britain. Putin has signed a law allowing those who volunteer to fight in Ukraine to have their debts cancelled. Background: Russia's recent show of force with the launch of a hypersonic missile comes in a context where Ukraine has escalated its offensive capabilities by using long-range missiles for the first time. This significant change in the dynamics of the conflict is reflected in several recent events. Ukraine fired US-made attacks, launched long-range ballistic missiles for the first time attached on Russian territory, specifically in the Bryansk region. This attack came after President Biden's authorization for Ukraine to use this type of weaponry, marking a milestone in the war. The response to this Ukrainian attack was immediate, with Russia launching the Oresnik as a way to demonstrate its superior military capability. This missile is considered a significant advance and is interpreted as a clear message to the West about Russian military capabilities. Secret technology. According to Battle for World, one of the things that is kept in the dark to the public is that there is a private terrestrial group allied with ancient aliens, which has built a space fleet since the late 1970s, and has amassed an impressive armada consisting of more than 400 or 1,000 spacecraft of various sizes and shapes. This private group carried out certain formations and maneuvers in the Pacific area from the North and South Poles in November, and is likely positioning itself to make its power felt. He adds that the Pentagon has hybrid ships that look like 6th-generation aircraft. They do not use turboban engines, but a unique rocket propulsion mechanism, which is coordinated with vibratory waves on the top and bottom of the ships, with the main rockets at the rear of the ship. The vibratory waves are used to make the ship stay still in the air, and with the main rockets in standby mode. The Pentagon doesn't have many of these ships, and uses some of them to carry out clandestine activities. It reveals that Western governments are operating with a cloak of wisdom at the top of power, the all-seeing eye, who were aliens, and who were eventually arrested and deported off-planet in the years 1978 and 2006. These groups were the ones secretly advising the Vatican and the US, the British and European managers organized in a global membrane. These aliens, who were at the top of power, have human appearance, and their interference dates back 6,000 years after their ancestors returned to Earth. These two groups were known to cause trouble because they had long-term goals of returning to the surface of the Earth once a certain level of technology was achieved. So they were training with white people to dominate the other colored peoples, and that is why things have progressed the way they have. There are other galactic groups of good intentions that watch over Earth and know what is going on, and counteract evil when the opportunity arises, and help and do some of what these mischievous groups were doing. This is a private side of Russia that the public is not aware of, which is allied at the top with galaxies with peaceful intentions. Russia is involved in the intention to bring about world peace. The new Trump administration will have an uphill battle with the wicked, and do not be surprised by the revolving doors of advice. The media is creating a lot of fear about the possible Russian nuclear attack, but this scenario will not occur in the near future. When Russia believes the time has come, it will give a direct warning in a unique way, where the signal will not be obvious. The warning will be to state that the red lines have expired and they are ready for the challenge. Catharsis. According to Blossom Godchild, much will be getting attention right now and in the days ahead, and our truth rather may be a bit confused. What you hear or what you witness does not necessarily mean it's true. Much will have to come to light in the days ahead. As the darkness is already in its final moments, it will use every trick up its sleeve to deceive. Do your best not to accept anything that is presented to you. There will be obvious signs that things are moving in the right direction. Real evidence that will not leave you in doubt, because it will be presented before our eyes. What is made public will shock many, and yet it is not going in the wrong direction. It means that the world is waking up to what has been going on, and it's being revealed. It is good that evil is being made public, so that the light can shine and remove any energy tied to such things. As powerful as darkness has shown itself to be, the power of love is far greater. It is like a game of chess. One knows that one has won, but there is still a few moves to be made until the game is over. Curious. According to Sean Ryan, in order for the 1,000 years of heaven on earth to last, all corruption and evil must be eliminated. A storm is coming that will shake the world to its foundations. X22 report. Trump is using game theory with moves and counter moves. The deep state is pushing the notion that they want a smooth transition, which means that is not the case. They are pushing the narrative that Trump has not signed the transition agreement. He doesn't actually need to. The transition will take place on January 20th. Juan José Ruiz from the Elcano Institute opines, in quotes, institutions are incapable of establishing standards of coexistence in today's world. They are in a situation of harassment, erosion, and the inability to impose the rules of coexistence in such a hetero world. The world order we live in is going to be a new one, and it cannot be imposed by either of the two main blocks, since they are not aligned, says Ruiz. Atmospheric radiation is plummeting. It is not about radiation from the sun. This radiation comes from deep space. Cosmic rays in our atmosphere have just hit a 10-year low. According to the data, atmospheric radiation has been falling by about 10% each year for the past 3 years, resulting in a decrease of almost a third, not only in the stratosphere. It is also filtering out at aviation altitude. This means that air travelers are absorbing less radiation when they fly. Mike Adams teaches how to prepare mentally and spiritually. We are in for a rough side as Trump's top picks point to civil conflict. The good news is that we can prepare ourselves mentally, spiritually, and physically to face almost any future that comes our way. And this is the healthiest way to deal with it. But if we are wise and informed, we can adjust our response to these events to protect those we love while also fulfilling the higher purpose for which we were here in the first place. Dr. Betty Kovacs reveals the secrets of ancient knowledge that was buried for centuries, explores how new global consciousness is transforming our future by merging ancient spiritual traditions with modern quantum physics. His insights into interconnectedness sacred geometry, and shamanism reveal the untapped potential of human consciousness. By embracing this evolving paradigm, we can unite the mystical with the scientific, triggering profound personal and collective transformations that will redefine the way we perceive and shape reality. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.